Alright, bro. I got some nice ass shit to show y'all today. Today's May 10th. May 10th, 2024. I'm gonna real quick go over the news. There was like 9 o'clock news or something today. But bro, today was nice. Price delivered very cleanly. Yeah, prelim. What is this? It didn't really do too much. But I'm gonna show y'all the daily time frame real quick over here. I'll show y'all all the time frames, just bare bones probably, and show you what I was thinking. Y'all can follow along. And then I'm going to show you all of my entries and ideas for what was going to happen. And dude, pretty much like everything played out today. Today was nice, even though the past couple of days have just been weird as hell. All right, so this is the daily time frame right here. As you can see, this, I mean, it's been rallying the past couple. I've been predicting for it to start retracing for the past couple of days, but it's not. I don't even know what it's doing. On the 4 hour, yeah, so it stopped just short of this high on the Nasdaq right here. The S&P, it took this little one. I'm pretty sure this thing is going to start making its way back down a little bit. Like I said, though, price is weird. I feel like here, I mean, the Nasdaq is balanced all up in here. This was yesterday's price. I caught like a little scalp yesterday, but I had a missed entry. And then on the S&P rather, there's there's 3 4 hour fair value gaps in a row. So like this thing is just imbalanced as hell. Plus, there's more down here. The Nasdaq already filled most of these in. I think, honestly, bro, if I were to predict next week, I mean, today's Friday, but if I were to predict next week, I'm thinking maybe it goes down and then seeks these lows right here and then messes around. I don't think the S&P is gonna take them right off the bat. So we might have an SMT going on right here. What is this? Yeah, like this. I think the Nasdaq is definitely going to sweep these before the S&P. But next week, I think I'm going to come in with a bearish bias. Today, or this week, it was pretty much bullish the entire week, just continuing this uptrend. But I'm going to make the chart naked again, just if y'all want to see it. I'm going to go on the 1 hour chart. And price started right here for today. So this is today. And yesterday, it's just a bunch of chop, dude. I took one trade in this, messed around a little bit. I didn't really do too much yesterday though. It wasn't terribly clean. If you look at this, it's just the giant clump of candle bodies up in here. This S&P. This is very very bullish. All the 4 hours are right here. Like I said, this is a 4 hour, but 1 hour chart going in today. Pre-market, there's a 1 hour fair value gap, and it tapped into that, tapped into it, bounced off very cleanly, very clean bullish action. Going in, I think I would have, if there were actual liquidity targets today, I would have had a bullish bias, but it had already swept all this. S&P swept this yesterday, so it was kind of in an SMT. But there wasn't really anything to aim for other than just high time frame targets and just trading the trend. So I wasn't terribly bullish today. But I also wasn't really bearish because bearish side, I mean, you've got some lows right here, but then the next ones are all the way down here. What is this, like 50 points? Yeah. S&P's not doing that in one day. But this is the beginning of the day. Price comes up, taps the fair value gap, taps it, goes back up again, starts making its way back down, and I hopped on the charts at right before 8:30, so right before the 8:30 open, and 8:30 today, again, just like yesterday, it was a manipulation. Nasdaq, so first it went here, I can show you all in the 1 minute, but dude, I mean, the 8:30, bro, 8:30 is just whatever it wants to sweep, it'll sweep. 9:30 open Eastern time, this thing just seeks whatever it wants. Sometimes it reverses, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on the high time frame, but comes down a little bit, fakes out a bit. There's an FVG right in here, so it taps a fair value gap and then shoots up 90 points. Yeah, that's crazy. But it swept these. These were equal highs right here. Equal highs. Came up, swept them all, and I wasn't terribly bearish right after this because I didn't exactly want to trade into. Hold up, let me get to it. This 10/15 minute fair value gap right here. I didn't really want to trade right back into this bullish price action just because, I mean, the bias wasn't 100% there. But after that, and after it started making its way back down, once it had gotten to this point, let's say like right here, oh shit, yeah. I'll leave this stuff on now. So yeah, it basically just swept all this, came up, swept, and then started turning around pretty much instantly. And I was leaning more bearish after this, although I wanted a pretty good setup for it. And as you can see right here, if you look at all this price, this thing just started. The algo was just in full, full go down mode. This thing barely retraced at all. Only real retracements like right here. It goes up to 50%. And these are the exact same leg on the time frames for both of these. So if you wanted to take maybe a short after at 50% right here, you could have. This wasn't too bad of a trade. This formed equal lows right here, and then there's another one right there. So if you were bullish on that, you could have taken it, but I didn't take this just because the risk to reward was scuffed as hell. And other than this, it was just aiming down here, which I wasn't. I mean, I only take what I'm 100% confident in, pretty much, or at least mostly confident in. But after that, started making its way down. I put on, bro, dude. I always put on like random outlines just to fuck around and guess where price is gonna go, bro. I don't take the actual trades just because they're not terribly high confluence. But dude, I put one on at about 8:40 after it had swept this. Just as dude, I swear, like I put on these random things and somehow they end up hitting. I just put on this as a joke, just to see, oh yeah, it's gonna reverse here, turn into a sell maker or sell market maker model. But it actually went and did that. But I didn't get a good enough entry on this. I would have taken it if it had came back up into here. Then I would have entered, aiming for these lows right down here. After it swept them, I kind of gave up the bearish bias because price on it only has so much energy. I don't think it's just gonna. I'm not gonna take a trade with an ambiguous daily bias and lack of liquidity targets preceding that. So I didn't want to keep shorting after here, but I would have entered if it had came back up into here a little bit and retraced maybe to equilibrium or something like that. Yeah, if it had came up into like maybe here or so, I then would have shorted it, but this thing didn't retrace at all, just going down. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I think this thing might start reversing a little bit now. Might sweep these out maybe Monday or so. Market's about to close for the weekend. What is it, 12:23? Yeah, market's going to close for the weekend. I think we're going to have some bearish days next week. There is CPI and PPI, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Monday's no news Monday. That's not really the best. And CPI and Powell are right after that. So Monday's going to have absolutely no volatility. Monday's just going to be choppy. Maybe you could find like a scalp in there. I might find one, but don't go into Monday with high hopes. Tuesday, like I said, PPI and federal. Wait, did I say CPI? There's PPI and then Powell speaking. So price is going to be flat the entire morning until PPI, and then right after PPI, it's probably going to be flat again. It's not going to be correlated. Powell speaking. I mean, yeah, it's just not good. And then CPI on Wednesday. CPI and some other stuff, like some tiny red folder stuff. But Thursday and Friday, I low key, these are some good trading days. It's right after volatility. We can see what the trend wants to do, if it's going to reverse, whatever. If it's in a good condition, then there might be some good trades up in here. So we'll just have to see. But as far as the actual trades I took, price had came down, and I mean, it's hard to like get all this in one shot, but it's because I have two charts up, kind of. But price came down, like I said, swept, kept sweeping all these. There's a low here, here, and there's a 4-hour fair value gap right here it filled. And on the Nasdaq didn't have any imbalances right here in this area, so I'm like, alright, is there actually zero imbalances in here? So I was looking at all the time frames. Like if you go to the 4-hour, oh, there's still nothing there. I don't know, 6-hour, nothing there. 8-hour, tiny little bit, and then I went to the 12-hour, and there's just a giant FEG right here. So there's a 12-hour fair value gap on the Nasdaq. That's like a really weird time frame to have it on, but I assume there would be one there because I didn't think they'd be that much out of line. S&P had some fair value gaps down there, so it had already came down, swept all these. I didn't want to long this, I guess, on the medium time frame. What do I mean by that? I wouldn't long this after the liquidity sweep and then bring it, aim for up here or something like that. There's no liquidity up here anymore at all. There's nothing there, and you're trading into a bunch of bearish price action. So long bias is completely gone on here. Still a little bit more short or long bias as far as higher time frames. But it came down, and this is where I took a scalp, and it was a really, really nice scalp. Price came down, and I was still watching it. I was just kind of chilling. I was like reading or something like that. It gets down, sweeps all this, starts chopping a tiny bit. S&P formed relative equal highs right here. The Nasdaq is just kind of messing around. It's a little bit more bullish, but then it SMTs. Okay, this SMT right here. This is what led me to take this scalp, and inside of this SMT, I mean, I wasn't crazy bullish bias. I wouldn't aim terribly far if there wasn't the SMT right here. But pair that with sweeping all this liquidity, filling a 12-hour fair value gap, if you know what I'm saying. SMT, equal highs. This thing's been delivering bearish. Probably going to retrace soon. It's got liquidity targets. And then there's some other stuff up in here. There's this FEG got disrespected, absolutely blown through on the Nasdaq, and it comes back down and taps into this. My first entry was right here, and I entered in, I think it was, I risked like 140 or so with my stop loss down here, 140 or so, and then I took a partial right here. Took one, if I can get it, one partial right here, because the Nasdaq, if you look on the Nasdaq, it took this high. So whenever, I'd recommend y'all do this, whenever you're in a position and it SMTs and it starts holding a little bit and you're already in profit, just take a little bit of position off, maybe like a quarter, 1/3 at least. If it's a good trade, you don't have to take too much off, but I always do that just to cover my ass, especially in a scalp like this. You never really know, but yeah, I took a little bit off at the SMT, and if you look, after I did this, I moved my stop down a little bit, or up a little bit rather. So I took the partial and moved my stop up even more, and actually, exactly equal highs. So perfect equal highs started forming inside of this fair value gap on the S&P. I'll delete this real quick. So there's a fair value gap right here. Two equal highs. Okay. I'd already taken a partial and I re-entered. I think maybe half to 2/3 size right here on this re-entry, about 50% of the way through the fair value gap. So I added to the position, and I had already taken a partial. So if this went down and I moved my stop up, then I still wouldn't have lost money on this re-entry. Really, I would have lost like a little bit, but very reactive area. It comes down, fills this. This is where I entered. I can show you all the entry in a second. Same thing on Nasdaq though. It had this SMT, which was a little bit worrying, tiny bit, and it was also like lunchtime. But same thing on here. It sweeps. There's a fair value gap in here somewhere. It might be on like a 2-minute. Is there not one? I thought there was one, but I mean, tiny little one right here. Re-entered. I'm still aiming for these equal highs on the S&P. Okay, so I got the re-entry right there, and then it hit take profit. It was a very nice, very clean scalp. I can show you all executions. So yeah, right here I entered in 36.75, which is this horizontal line right here. Very nice entry. Stop was down here, right there. Aiming for these up here. I'll draw a line real quick just for reference, I guess. But it came up. This is my partial right here, so I got in 8 micros here times 2 since I'm group trading on 2 accounts. 8 micros, sold 3 off right here, so now I'm in like 60% of my position. Re-entered with 5 contracts, and I moved my stop loss to right here, because if it went and started blowing through this, then my idea is just over, like it's gone. But this is, like I said, equal lows, fair value gap. This was just crazy ass little turtle soup kind of thing right here. I use turtle soup, dude. Turtle soups, I just started trading them, dude. They're good as fuck. I can't even lie. These things are nice. But re-entered on here, 5 contracts. I already took off 3 here, so I was in 10 micros, 1 mini. At this point, stop loss was right here. If this thing had gone or came down My other entry was right here. I already took a partial. I only would have lost like $50 or something like this, but I was on. I was in like 10 contracts to aim for up here, so I made about 400 total on this with the partial, and it went up to take profit. After I took the partial and the re-entry, I mean that's just very precise, very low risk, high reward kind of entry right here. Just trading reactive areas, liquidity. Where's it gonna draw to? All right, well, with the high time frame, it's already swept all this. It's in a fair value gap. I'm not going to go and aim for the stars on this one, but it's still a nice little scalp. It isn't really retraced too much the entire morning, so if it's going to go up, it's going to go up like right here, and it did. But it's going down now. I'm not surprised. Relative equal highs in a fair value gap, bouncing right here. I'm not surprised it did that, but I took everything off right here, so I'm chilling. I didn't enter anything before this scalp right here. My original risk was maybe 2 risk to reward. I risked 140 on the first entry to make 180 because it was, or 280 because it was 2 RR. But after I took the partial, entered back in, and I got rid of most of my risk because the partial offset it, and I made 400 something on the day just with that little scalp. But yeah, I mean, if my idea was completely wrong, I only would have lost 140 in the first place, which I would have been fine taking. It's not crazy circumstances. I was only half risk in the beginning, but after seeing what price was, after seeing what price was doing, I mean, it's respecting every single thing. It's setting up, created this giant turtle soup right here. This thing shot off like a rocket. I was waiting, dude. It chopped for a second, and I was just like about to fall asleep, but then it went up and hit it. So yeah, a little dub. Couldn't catch any of this move down. Although after it went down here, if I had gotten a good entry, I would have taken anything. But it's not the end of the world. Some of y'all might have caught that short, but conditions weren't amazing to begin with. So I obviously wanted to have a good entry if I was going to go and start aiming all the way down here for a short. But yeah, that's pretty much it.